Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Frontier School Division and our live stream, Science Near and Far. My name is Jacqueline Monteith. I am a science instructional coach with Frontier School Division and so excited to be streaming here this morning right from the coast of Hudson Bay in Churchill, Manitoba. You saw a video this morning that was taken of the bay, and that is right outside these windows that we have behind us. And just a fun fact, yesterday afternoon, a polar bear walked right along the coast there where you saw that video. So fingers crossed, if we see a bear out there, we'll be zooming in to show you that as well. Pretty exciting stuff. This morning's panel, we'll be featuring 7 students from Duke of Marlborough, as well as one amazing teacher who's joining us here off screen. But before we get started with that, I would like to extend a very sincere thank you to all of our partners who are working hard to make this happen for all of you. First of all, we have Frontier School Division, our science department, myself, my colleague Arif, who you will meet on this afternoon's panel. We have our right-click technology team, we have Bradley here, and we have Justin here working hard to make this happen for all of you. I would like to thank the Duke of Marlborough School and especially Mr. Manning for making this happen and working together with our students and staff to allow us to be here today. We've also got a lot of amazing science-based organizations who partner with us on many adventures, initiatives, and projects. I would like to thank the Churchill Northern Study Centre, Parks Canada, the Churchill Marine Observatory, Assiniboine Park Zoo, Polar Bears International, and more. The list goes on and on. So, let's get started. You guys ready to get started?
Yes.
Where's those hands up for science? Woo! Let's get started. So, as we begin here, we're going to have our student panel introduce themselves with their names, their grade, and a fun fact about them.
My name is Joseph Thomas Henry Martins. I am in grade 5. And my interesting fact about me is that I'm here today.
Nice, well done. Welcome, Joseph.
Hi, I'm Kirsten, and I'm in grade 6. I guess an interesting fact about me is I guess I like all types of mythology. Yeah, I'm really into that.
Very cool. We're going to talk about that later.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Clementine and I'm in grade 6, and a fun fact about me is that I'm really good at gymnastics.
Very nice, thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm in grade 5, and a fun fact about me is that I was born on the other side of the world.
Ooh, where were you born?
Hungary, Budapest.
Wow, that definitely is the other side of the world, all the way to Churchill. Nice. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Isabel. I'm in grade 8, and interesting fact about me is that I like to ride horses.
Very nice. Do you have much contact with the horses here in Churchill?
Yes, I go see them every day after school.
Nice, that's amazing. All right, go ahead.
My name's Emily, and I'm in grade 6, and the weird thing about me is that I can raise one eyebrow than the other, and I don't know anyone else who can do that.
Oh, can you show us? Nice, nice. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Ella. I'm in grade 8, and I am double jointed.
Can we see? Oh, gives me shivers right there. All right. If you guys have some weird stuff about yourselves that you would like to jump in on chat, then please do so. We have a couple shout outs already to all of you. So I'm going to do the list here. We have people joining us already from Lynn Lake. We've got Winnipeg. We have Barons River, Ecole Lansdowne, Swan River. So a big good morning, everybody. Hello.
Good morning.
A warm Churchill welcome. Here we go. So we've got a few questions that we can start with, but folks, feel free. This is an open conversation all about science near and far. So what the goal is looking at what we can use in our own community to enhance our learning and understanding and experience with all things science. And then how can we also incorporate that global perspective into our curriculum, into our education, into our curiosities that we want to find out about. So that's a pretty exciting topic and a pretty big topic. Feel free to jump in with questions, but we'll get started here as well. All right, so I am going to just randomly start. I think I'm going to start with Clementine, if that's okay. And I have a question about you. What do you know about the land around Churchill? What are a couple of things that you've learned over the years?
That it's a very cultural place, and we have a lot of celebrations for things. Like we have a jigging program, and yeah.
Are you a part of the jigging program?
No.
Okay. I've seen jigging here in Churchill and it's phenomenal. Good points. Yes, Joseph, go ahead.
I've learned here that we are the capital of the world, and we have many types of plants here that grow here that you wouldn't really find in other places. We have cranberry bushes, we have crowberries, blueberries, we have giant rock ranges that go for a long time. Yeah.
The rock ranges are an interesting phenomenon here in Churchill. Do you guys know anything more about the rock ranges? Or Joseph, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I know that some rocks in the rock ranges may have quartz in them and on them that you can sometimes see. Say over there by the river, over there by the dock. If you keep going, you'll find a lot of rocks with quartz inside of them.
Yeah, very interesting. Before I get to your comment, Kirsten, I know you're eager to speak here as well. Before I get to your comment, has anybody here heard of isostatic rebound here in Churchill? Okay, so that's something that we're probably going to get to this afternoon, on this afternoon's session. So when we talk about isostatic rebound this afternoon, it's happening here in Churchill with exactly the rock ranges you're talking about. And you guys are going to be learning that in the next couple of years, for sure, definitely as part of your science studies. All right, Kirsten, you had a contributing comment.
Yeah, in addition to what Joseph said about us being the polar bear capital, we are also the beluga whale capital of the world.
Can you explain?
I guess because you typically won't see a beluga in like the Indian Ocean or the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, right? That's very rare. So I guess they like to go up here for like mating and breeding season, and I guess they like Churchill best.
Well, of course, who wouldn't like Churchill best? So do you know when approximately, like what times of year do people see belugas and what times of year do people see polar bears?
Do you want to know about this year or like past years? Because I can tell you about this year.
Sure.
Because, well, it's sort of on and off. So the last time I saw a beluga whale was probably in September. So, because there was like a lot when I go down to the beach down there, and polar bears sort of in the winter, so sort of like from when it starts snowing here, or sometimes even earlier, so like say August, and then to like May or June or something. For the beluga whales, I'm not sure. I guess I started seeing them on like June, because that's when the ice started melting, and then the last one I saw was in August. So yeah.
That's amazing, thank you. So for our panelists, just a quick reminder, we're going to speak extra loud because we have on face shields and masks and all those good things, and we're trying to make sure that we project probably past that panel that's on the other side there too. Sarah, go ahead.
A really cool fact is that like the root ring, it's really, really big. The roots, they spread really far. And a lot of the small trees, the one-sided trees, they have the same roots as the big ones because the roots go really far.
So here in Churchill, and now I need to remember that term that I learned just the other day, the krumholtz. Did I get it? Okay, right, I got it right. So there's a phenomenon with the trees where, as you mentioned, the trees are often one-sided, and that's because of the strong north wind that comes in. The branches only grow on the opposite side of the north wind so that the branches are protected. If you can look this up as an image, just look up flag tree or krumholtz in Churchill and you'll see some very cool images of that. So what you're saying is the root system for those smaller one-sided trees are the same as those giant trees.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, I guess because they still need the same stability in the soil and the same nutrient content and all of that good stuff. All right, good, thank you. Ella, you have a contributing comment?
Actually, I saw a beluga whale a few days ago, and some other tourists saw a bear lift the other day. That was just yesterday.
Yeah, so there were beluga whales in the bay just last week, but normally they are done by the end of, or early September. So it's very telling that the belugas are in the bay a month later than what they normally are. Okay, and some of those tourists who saw the bear lift yesterday, yes, myself as well, we headed out there and it was really cool. Go ahead, Clementine, nice and loud, please.
So last year in January we had to come up here because of COVID, because we had a big class and there was a lot of space up here. And we would be able to look out those windows and we would see like seals and belugas and it was really cool.
So during class, your class was here because we had to space out because of COVID. And as part of your class, you would see, sorry, what were the animals?
We would see like belugas and seals. Like we would just look out the window and sometimes we'd see like belugas and sometimes we'd see seals popping their heads out of the water.
That's pretty amazing.
And we also had binoculars so we could see them closer.
Yeah, absolutely. Joseph, thanks for your patience. Nice and loud, please.
Just to comment on how you were asking on what type of season the bears were starting to come out. Bears are going to start coming, you're going to start seeing them a lot more after Halloween because that's when the ice is going to start coming in and forming. And sometimes you'll see 2 or 3 during Halloween night if you go like down the highway. My Nana and Papa, they own a bed and breakfast that's only open during bear season, is what I remember them saying. And it's open right now, so I'm pretty sure that's starting to become bear season.
Okay, yeah. So we're right at the start of bear season now. And you mentioned Halloween. So Halloween is an interesting experience here in Churchill. It's very different than where we would experience Halloween in other communities. Isabel or Emily, are either one of you willing to talk about what Halloween is like here? Go ahead, Emily, we'll start with you and then we'll go to you, Isabel.
For Halloween, we usually have to wear like a bunch of sweaters and like ski pants under our costumes because it's really cold here in October. And there's always like the bear patrol and ambulance and police driving around during Halloween in case there are bears.
Okay, yeah. So you're protecting from the cold and you're also being protected by police, ambulance, bear patrol, because it's right in the middle of bear season where bears are coming through town regularly. Isabel, do you have something to contribute about Halloween?
Well, I was kind of just going to say the same thing as Emily, but yeah, you have to wear like lots of sweaters and layers over your Halloween costume, and you always have to be careful because that's when the snow and the ice are coming in on the road. And yeah, Bear Patrol is always just going around to make sure that everyone's safe. And like they always do like a presentation in school before Halloween. It's like just like don't walk in the alleys or make sure you're with your friends or your parents or something. They always just give it to like so kids remember to like stay away from bears and to call Bear Patrol if they see anything.
Okay, so tell me if this is true or not. I heard in the past that you are absolutely not allowed on Halloween to dress up as a polar bear. True? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like what Isabel said, they have presentations. I mean, you probably are allowed, I guess, in school, because we have Halloween in school and outside school, like sort of party or something. And I guess they tell you not to do that because they might mistake you for a bear and you might...
That's right. Or a bear might mistake you for a bear. That would be...
Or like if you dress up as a seal or a fox or something,
and then a bear comes in and no one's there. They might see you, and then
Yeah.
you have to run.
Yeah, best to be safe. So we have 3 more comments about Halloween, and then we're going to move on to our next question. Go ahead, Joseph.
Well, like Emily said that the ambulances and police will be moving around and same with Bear Patrol, but the fun thing is sometimes they will actually also come up to you and they will actually give you candy.
Ooh,
And
nice.
last year, the town, they dressed up, I'm pretty sure it was a semi-trailer or a truck, and some townsfolk dressed up as scary clowns, and they came up to people with these pictures and gave them candy. And polar bears will sometimes come through town during Halloween. My theory is it's because of all the sweets. Also, 2 years ago, when they did their presentation, they gave everybody these little red buzzers that glowed in the, like, you press the button, they start blinking, so that you could let people know that you're there for your costume during Halloween.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Clementine.
So like, yeah, last year, like a lot of police, like the police was driving around and the bear people, and they were like giving out candy and stuff. But it's also really cool because like when you see them driving around, it actually looks really cool because they usually have their lights on, so it looks really cool.
Awesome. Thank you. Sarah?
This is not Halloween related, but a few weeks ago, some tourists on a tundra buggy, they actually saw a bear like attack a seal.
Wow. Yes, and I mean, that's what happens. That's part of the food chain here. But to witness a polar bear attacking a seal, I don't know, how would you feel? A little bit scared or a little bit excited or a little bit grossed out?
Well, sometimes when I watch the nature channel or like nature documentaries, I just get all sad when like an animal dies, and my mom's like, it's just the food chain.
Yeah, it is. That's the food chain.
But I still get sad.
Go ahead, Joseph.
One time I watched this documentary about our planet. I started crying all at once when I saw, so the polar bear and the cub didn't get the first adult seal because the cub wouldn't stop moving. So, but then the cub found a baby seal.
Aww.
And the mom wasn't able to help, and they knew that the baby seal wouldn't be able to escape this quick, so
Yeah.
they got it.
Yeah. So I really like the direction of this conversation right now, because what we kind of lent into was the natural food chain that's happening right in this local area. And that's a huge scientific topic. So when we think about your local areas, start to think about what are the food chains, what are the trophic levels, if you're in middle and senior years as well, that lend well to your natural area. So we have a food chain discussion going on here, and I kind of want to stick with that for a little bit. What would be another animal that is a part of, or sorry, I would say a plant or animal that's a part of the food chain, and you know kind of where it belongs from this local area in the subarctic? Ella, do you have anything about food chains to talk about?
Beluga would be one of them.
Good point. Where do you think beluga belongs in the food chain? What would be below beluga and what would be above beluga?
Plants and animal, no, not animal. Plants would be below, plants and bacteria would be below beluga. And a polar bear would be above.
Yeah, polar bears will hunt from the water and they will hunt beluga. What I'm not sure of is, can polar bear access beluga once they're on the ice? Does anybody know the answer to that question? Joseph, do you know?
Well, they can, but it's very risky because, well, the iceberg is always moving. If they're on a very tall iceberg, they'd have to jump at it but they couldn't jump too far else they'd give away their area.
Yeah.
But
good
I don't
point.
think that they would, because I'm pretty sure polar bears are pretty smart, and they know if they missed their target and they were in, and there wasn't small pieces of ice for a very long distance, that the big chunks of ice could crush them if they came together.
Right, so they know that there's risk involved and they can calculate those risks when they're hunting.
And wolves will be under beluga as well, because the wolves, just because they may be a predator, they wouldn't be ahead of the beluga. Because if I imagine a wolf hunting a beluga, it kind of looks weird.
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit.
Yeah. And also I see the beluga hitting the wolf in the head with its tail.
Yeah.
So I don't think wolves hunt belugas.
Do you have wolf coming through town here?
No.
Or in the general area, are there wolves?
We actually, I think the only place you can really find wolves is if you go either across the river or if you go way, way past the marina at Moose Creek,
Yeah.
you might be able to find some wolves.
Okay, so still in the general area though, that's not too terribly far from where we are right now.
The marina?
Yeah, from this area.
The marina actually is like way down the river.
Okay,
Yeah, like it's actually quite a distance one.
okay, good. We have lots of people ready to contribute. Emily, go ahead first.
When Joseph was talking about the wolves and where you can find them, I don't think you can find them in Churchill, but I think I heard one time that there were wolves coming into Churchill one time. I don't exactly remember when, but like I heard my mom tell me that there was a wolf in town when I wasn't even here.
Wow, so it does happen.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Isabel, go ahead.
Honestly,
Nice and loud.
honestly, I've never seen an actual wolf in my life, and I've lived here for 13 years, and I've never like seen one like coming through town or anything. But I was out at my friend's cabin. It was like really far because we went down like this path in the springish time, and we found wolf tracks. We didn't actually find any wolves, but we found like fresh prints. So I would say there is some where Churchill is, but not where people live.
Good point, thank you. Sarah, go ahead.
Actually, around springtime or summertime, there was actually some wolves, like they basically killed like a pack of dogs out in the tundra, but it was for nothing. Like they didn't even eat some of the dogs. They just killed them for nothing.
So it was like a territory kill, not a food issue. Interesting. Clementine?
So this isn't really about wolves, this is more about polar bears. Once, when me, my sister, and my brother we were at like school and stuff, and my mom was at work, my dad was at home, and a bear was trying to climb over the back fence. Like it was like right outside of our yard, and it was trying to climb over the back fence.
Wow. How did that feel? Like, did you watch it?
No, I wasn't there, but my dad saw it, and then he called the polar bear people,
Yeah,
and so yeah.
very scary, yes. Go ahead.
Well, the food chain here is quite complicated because there's different places for different stuff. So like polar bears like belugas, but what about the wolves? Because you have the ravens also and the birds, right? So it's sort of not just that straight line of your food chain that you typically see, like the humans at the top, and then there's a shark, and then all the way down to the plankton, right? It's sort of spread out the food chain. So like there's different food chains. So there'd be the polar bear and then the beluga, but you have to remember the wolves and the other animals, right? So I guess they wouldn't be on top of the beluga. They wouldn't be below the beluga. They would sort of be to the side with their own food chain. And more about wolves, what Sarah said with when they attacked the dogs, they actually didn't eat any of the dogs. They were I don't think it was a territorial kill either, because those were dog sledding dogs. So like they had this big fence around them. So there's just a big fence, and then they have these houses for them, like dog houses, and they just live there and they just stay there. And we don't really know why the wolves killed them and then just left.
Very interesting, thank you. I like what you're talking about, how it's not a straight line when we're talking about food chains, and I completely agree. So when you think about trophic levels, you think about all of the producers, all of the herbivores, the omnivores, the carnivores, and then your primary killers, I guess is what you call it. But you also think how interconnected they all are. So instead of a food chain, we're moving into the concept of a food web. And that's exactly what you're talking about, so thank you for that. What I would like to ask our participants, our classrooms, we do have a couple of more shout outs here. We have a big hello, a grade 2 class from Lynn Lake. We have the grade 4 class of Thunderbird School in South Indian Lake. We also have a couple of hellos from a couple of your classrooms here at Duke of Marlborough, so that's pretty exciting. So we'll give a big Churchill hello to all of those folks.
Hello!
What I would like is for our participating classrooms, if you have some questions about animals, food chains, food webs, for our crew here from Churchill, but also if you could teach us something about food chains, animals, something about your local area, we would like to learn from you as well. So now's the time to put those comments into chat, and if you have questions for our class, we would love to hear it. We're going to switch a bit of direction here now, away from food chains and food webs until we get some of those questions. And I would like to know, does anybody have something weird or interesting that you have learned about land, water, air around Churchill, plants, the rocks? Do you have any kind of odd facts about your local area here? Go ahead, Kirsten.
Well, one time I was very picking with my friend, and her mom, she told me this fact, which I thought was really weird, that because there was like these bushes around there, and like there's these vines coming, there's these roots coming down, and I was like, and so I just thought they were bushes, and she actually said that the trees, they're actually trees. So the trees are just laying down there, and they're growing, and the roots are just coming out. So like
Wow.
it's like the tree was uprooted and just placed on its side, and it's still growing actually.
And that's just the way that tree's growing.
Yeah.
Very interesting, thank you. Emily, you have one?
A really weird story I heard from my friend is she likes to go paddleboarding in the summer, and she was paddleboarding with another friend on a lake close to Churchill, and they were just like resting on their paddleboards on the lake, and a beluga came up and touched her foot, and it even like tried to put it in their mouth, but
Wow.
it didn't bite or anything.
Did she feel scared, or did she know it was a friendly situation?
I would have been scared, but like I can't remember if she said anything.
Yeah, I think I would feel scared too, even though I know it's not like a beluga is hunting us or wants to attack. I think I would still feel quite nervous if that happened. Clementine, go ahead, and then we'll move to Sarah.
So, like in May, there was like a huge blizzard. Like even if I just wanted to take the dog out, which would take like a minute, I have to put on my ski pants, my huge winter coat, my boots, my mitts, my hat, and it took me like 5 minutes just to get ready. Take them off 1 minute, and then come back in. And I had to like slide down the stairs, and then the next day we had to shovel out the door because like it was stuck in, so we could only open up like a small crack.
Yeah.
So me and my brother had to get through.
I think we were talking about that just yesterday, I believe, and Wendy, maybe you can tell me what's accurate or not, but I think after the snowfall and the wind, you guys basically had 7 feet of snow that homes and cars had to plow through during that major blizzard.
Is that in my room?
I'm trying to remember too. Joseph, do you remember?
It wasn't in our room, but also there was another blizzard I don't know if these are the same types of the same blizzard, but I remember this blizzard. It created snow mountains so tall that they were taller than the houses, and they curved.
Wow.
And the bulldozer, I watched it when we came back inside from the blizzard because it was still happening. But when it ended, I saw the bulldozer bringing snow, and when it finally got to our street, I saw when it went into the mountain, all the snow fell right onto the bulldozer. So it backed up, covered in snow.
Wow. Yeah, that's a scary situation to get caught in something like that. Sarah, go ahead. Something interesting or weird about Churchill that you've learned?
So this happened, this is like a beluga story. My dad was on his like tiny sailboat, and he was like going around, and this beluga, all these belugas came up to him, and they tried to because it was like rubber that you could blow up, so they tried to bite it. So my dad had to push them away with like the paddle.
Wow. Wow, very interesting.
So sometimes it's not like the most friendly situation. Maybe they just like want you off their turf.
Yeah.
Because of their babies.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Thank you for that. We'll go to Clementine and then Ella, and then we've got some questions coming in from our classrooms. Go ahead, Clementine.
In 2017, there was a huge blizzard, and it was so big that I could climb onto the top of my roof. Like, I could go outside, climb up the snow pile, and go onto the top of my roof, and so could my neighbor, and then we would wave to each other.
Wow.
And once my friend's mom was paddleboarding, I think, or canoeing, and belugas came up and they literally tipped her boat over.
Yeah, I guess like you said, right? Like maybe it's not always the friendliest
And she was
situation.
in the water with belugas.
Yeah. And she got out okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. Ella, go ahead.
The biggest blizzard that we've had was in 2017 or 2018, and it lasted for 3 days. My dad had to go outside to shovel, and like each day, like roughly 3 hours each day, every 3 hours he would have to go outside.
Wow. Yeah, that blizzard put in a chain reaction of multiple events afterwards when it melted and with the rail line, how it knocked out part of the rail line and all sorts of things that happened as a result of that blizzard.
Oh, that's how the rail line got out?
That was part of the chain of events, yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought the rail line got caught up in 2006.
Yeah. All right. So we have actually quite a lot of questions. So I just want to get to the questions first, and then we'll have more time to continue this part of the conversation. So we've got a good morning from HS Paul's School in Winnipeg, a grade 7A class, and they want to know, how often do you typically just see polar bears around town or in the areas close to town? Kirsten, go ahead.
Well, it's really on and off. So sometimes if you're lucky, you'll probably see a polar bear out in the tundra, hiding in the rock turf, like what Josie said. They'll be just hiding because there's big rocks there, and then they're just hiding behind it. And sometimes you'll see them just walking on the beach.
Yeah.
The polar bear question about the town, though. I don't know, but I can't remember the last time they actually went into town with all the buildings. But I know there's been some times where they've gotten close to town, but never like near the dump. That's a really common place for them, like near the airport and stuff. Like, I don't remember the last time they actually went into the town, like where we are now, but I know they come into the, like, sort of close to the town before.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Emily?
Like, you should see polar bears, like, in bear seasons. I think there's only like 3 months of bear season. I don't really remember. I think it's from like September to November or something like that. And you'll just see them like around town or something.
Okay, good. Isabel?
I was just gonna say, typically, the most common time to find polar bears is what Emily said, like anywhere between late September to November. That's when most of the tourists come to see all the bears. And you won't usually find bears in town. I mean, sometimes you do, and that's when Bear Patrol has to chase them out and use bear bangers and all that stuff. But if you'll usually find them out on the ice or just walking around or hiding or sleeping in the rocks.
Okay. I know you can find some video. I was here 2 years ago, just before everything COVID hit, and the afternoon that we left, we went to catch our flight, and it was about an hour later that there's a bear right on the brand new turf right outside the front doors of the school. And yeah, and I saw a video about that, and it was pretty exciting. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, as a teacher, I have to share a story that happened, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, it was in the fall. We were getting ready to take the students out for morning recess, and there was a bear across the street at the bank building. There's a ball diamond over there. So we had to kind of rush the kids in, and we ended up just standing at the door looking at the bear. I don't know if some of you remember that, but that was too close to home, let me say.
Yeah, a bit too close for comfort. I'm just going to do one more comment right now, and then we're going to move to our next question, which is still about bears. Joseph?
So, like Miss Gaucher said, that we all knew the bear was there. Michael didn't know. And I remember him seeing the teacher coming, him going outside, and we all started yelling at him to come back because of the bear across the street.
And that's a good point you make, because sometimes a bear can be very close, but it's not in your line of sight and you don't know it's there. So good thing that you guys were there looking out. All right, next question comes to us from Taylor School in Swan River. Do the polar bear eat the fox that trail behind them? Does anybody know about that relationship? I'm going to go to Clementine for this one first, and then to Ella.
I guess maybe sometimes if like they're really hungry, but they mostly stick to like seals and stuff.
Okay, good. Ella?
Yeah, what Clementine said.
Same comment. Once in a while if they're extra hungry, but usually they wouldn't. Go ahead, Kristen.
I mean, like what they said, it's not common because foxes, they're really nimble and quick and agile, so most times the bear won't catch them, and most times they just won't care. Because they're foxes, they sort of act like that tiny little sibling you have that you have to tag along when your mom says you have to go somewhere.
Yes, fair point.
And like most times they don't care because whatever a polar bear finds, they'll just eat what they can, and what they can they'll just leave. They'll just leave, and then the fox will just eat the rest of it.
So the fox is a scavenger.
Yeah.
Going after the bear's remains.
Yeah, but
Not the bear's remains, what the bear is eating, the remains of what the bear is eating.
Yeah.
I should correct myself there. Okay, good. Joseph?
Same with the crows and the wolves. If they find carcass of what a bear was eating, they will eat it. And I don't think that they'll eat foxes, but I know that sometimes they will eat martens.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Okay, we have another question here. We have a question from Barons River School, the grade 8 class. They're wondering what berries grow around here, and are berries part of a polar bear's diet? And look at all the hands shoot up to contribute. That's awesome. Emily, go ahead.
Some places out of town, there are blueberries, cloudberries, gooseberries, I think bearberries, and I forget what the red ones are called, but they're like they look like blueberries, but they're red.
Are they cranberries?
Sometimes they'll be cranberries. They can also be soapberries, which you don't want to eat.
Soap berries?
Yeah, and then there's also the bisonberries.
Those would be like the same as soapberries.
No, bisonberries and soapberries are different things. Soapberries grow on bushes, bisenberries grow on little trees.
Okay, do soap berries, I mean, it's the question that everyone's wondering. Do soap berries taste like soap?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Yeah.
have conflicting, yeah, we have different opinions
To
here.
me, that I've
Okay,
never had soap.
has anyone else tried soap berries and do they taste like soap? Yeah, go ahead.
I actually did want to try one because of the name, and honestly, they don't taste like the best like soap, but they don't taste good either. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're called soap berries because I'm pretty sure you can make like kind of like a cleaning thingy out of them or something.
Yeah.
Oh, great point. So you can use them as a natural cleaning tool or a natural cleaning product.
Okay, also I hear a lot of people say, I've heard some people say that you shouldn't eat soapberries because some types of soapberries you can get diarrhea or feel very sick if you eat them.
Okay, yeah.
You have to tell, how I know that bisenberries and soapberries are different things is because my Uncle Sheldon, he is pretty much, you could say, an expert off the land. He's also took tourists on tours, and he knows what the bisenberry, what's a cranberry, what's a crowberry, what's a gooseberry, what's a blueberry, what's a soapberry. He knows what all those berries are, and he even knows what the strawberries are.
Okay, yeah. Okay, good. That's good to know. Folks, we have lots to contribute. I'm going to grab you on the next question because we have lots of questions coming in here too. Before we get to more questions, I'd like to encourage our participating classrooms. That's a great discussion on what our folks have here for berries. And what do you have in your area? How do you use plants as food? How do you gain the knowledge to know what's edible and what's not? And is that part of anything that you do in your science classrooms or on the land learning? Before we get to the next question, I want to answer the second part of that question about are these a part of a bear's diet? So just a quick yes or no. 1,
Yes.
2, 3.
Yes.
So I had an experience a couple of years ago when I was here, and Bradley, you might remember this as well. We were out on a tundra buggy, and a couple of years ago there's a bear close to town, and they nicknamed him Blue Butt. And Blue Butt was around until things washed off his butt, but he was a bear who had a blue butt, and they think that the bear had rolled just the right way in blueberries or other types of berries, and it stained his fur until he was able to become clean again. So the bear's nickname was Blue Butt. Did anybody remember Blue Butt? It was about 2 or 3 years ago.
He may look cool and a bit funny, but a bear having a blue butt like that, that's actually not a good thing for a bear.
How come?
Because then they can't blend in with their surroundings, because you can't, unless all of a sudden you see a whole bunch of blue stains everywhere because people are using snow paint. A bear with a blue butt won't allow it to hunt on the ice,
Yeah.
able to find martins or chase
That's right.
or sneak up on something to chase it out of its territory.
It changes its abilities completely because that dependence on blending in is a huge part of a bear's lifestyle.
Yeah, it won't blend in with it won't blend in with snow. And also, something cool about the bear's fur was during the summertime, it actually starts to turn brown. Like if you were to imagine brown sugar and white sugar added just a bit together to make a bit of beige sugar. That's what a bit of the bear looks like during the summertime.
Okay, good. That's a good analogy too. I like how you use the brown sugar and the white sugar to compare the fur color in summer and
There is
winter.
a bear across the river called the sugar bear, and it looks exactly like the summer bear, but it looks like that all year round.
Oh wow. And it's a polar bear, but a sugar bear.
It's called sugar.
Very
There's
cool.
also pandas that can be completely white and shiny.
Wow.
They're called grizzly bears.
Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead, Kristen.
Fun fact about polar bears, actually. Their fur is actually translucent, and I can't remember though. I think their skin is actually black.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I learned this when I was like, I don't know, 8 or something. I thought their fur was actually white, and then it was just like regular skin like we have under the fur.
Yeah.
So that's why it looks white, because you usually see them in the snow, right? And since it's sort of translucent, transparent fur, so the color of the snow sort of reflects on the bear's fur. So yeah, that's why it looks white.
Yeah, so they don't have white fur, they have clear or translucent fur.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Clementine?
So like, yeah, they have.
A little bit louder, please.
They have black like skin because in the winter it gets cold here, so it helps them like collect heat, and it's kind of like waterproof a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, good. We have a class, a grade 2 class from Lynn Lake. Callie, Connor, and Marcus. Hello, Callie, Connor, Marcus, and your whole class. They wanted to tell us their animals that they have around Lynn Lake. So Lynn Lake is here in Manitoba. It's north of Thompson. It's not terribly far from here if you look from a map, but it is very far from here, and would be difficult to go there from Churchill for sure. So their animals that they have in their local area are bears, wolves, cats, dogs, rabbits, squirrels, and beaver. Yeah.
I'm not going to name all the animals we have here, but we do have snow geese, Canada geese, we do have gray jays, we do have lemmings, we have maybe some beavers, I don't know, deer, we have moose, we have crows.
We have a lot of animals.
Yeah, there's a lot. Does anybody know, either way, yes or no, are there beaver in this area of the subarctic? Yeah. Yeah, we have a few saying yes, there are. All right, I didn't know that their range was this far north. That's really interesting. Go ahead, Sarah.
This one time, well, polar bears are like known to be friends. Well, not exactly friends, but like friendly to dogs. But this one time, there was actually a wolverine here, and it attacked a whole bunch of dogs. So there have been known to, we have been known to have some wolverine around here. And there's also, I think it was a few years ago maybe, but some people actually saw orcas around here.
Yes, that's right. So what happens is we are on an estuary. Do you know what that term means? An estuary is any part of the world where fresh water meets salt water. So we're in the estuary, and belugas can transfer between the salt water in the bay and the fresh water of the river. And what I learned one time when I was here is that if there's an orca in the bay, the belugas can protect themselves by going up the river a little ways. So they go into the fresh water, and the orca can't get into the fresh water. So that's how, if there is an orca, the beluga can try to protect themselves. Go ahead, Emily.
My nanny and papa have a cabin over at Camp Nanook. It's outside of town. And my auntie was staying there for a little. And one time when she was going out there, she saw a beaver there at the cabin. And right after me, my mom, and my sisters left.
Okay, cool. There's another one here, another comment from Lynn Lake. At Lynn Lake, the beavers are chopping the trees at the school fence. So the kids have seen the expanse of missing trees right in the schoolyard because the beavers are causing some troubles. And they have a ton of ravens who are incredibly loud. And then, of course, lots of different types of fish too. And yeah, we didn't even talk about that yet, all of the marine life that we see as well. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna get to you, but we have a couple questions here as well. Barons River grade 8 students are wondering, is it possible to grow any type of garden out here, and what can you grow? Kirsten, go ahead.
Well, my mother, she loves plants. I have about 32 in my house that are actually alive. She says it's good for the air.
Actually alive.
And it just smells.
Yeah.
Dirt everywhere. Yeah, she grows spring onions. She has an apple tree. She, whenever we have exotic fruits or something, like lychee, she has an actual lychee. I think she has an avocado tree that's growing. She has spider plants. And, we live beside, a woman named Helen. Yes, I can see her house, and she has this big garden right outside her house. So it's just like she has cabbage, I think, and tomatoes. I'm not sure. Yeah, so you can grow
Right.
plants here, like plants that you would not typically see in the tundra, like farm plants.
Mhm. You just have to do it in, there's different methods, of course,
Yeah.
so that you can be successful. And plants that have a shorter grow season, and often those raised garden beds, right, so that they have access to enough soil. Joseph?
So you can grow plants here. We're actually right now, me and my mom and my sister are now preparing for next year so we can start growing potatoes.
Wow.
And maybe, I'm pretty sure she said carrots too. Also, about how SARS, there has been a Wolverine around here. Also, if you know Brian Ladoon and how he died from smoking, he was also my uncle. All of his dogs, except for 2, I'm pretty sure, died because of wolves that kept letting dogs out off their chains and bringing them out into the tundra, letting them have free life, and then killing them.
Wow.
So they stayed out there for like 2 nights straight. No wolves came when they left. When they came back, 3 dogs were gone again.
Wow.
So there's only 2 dogs that were left in this yard.
It sounds like the wolves were working as a wolf pack, but they knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the dogs. There were 2 dogs though that were off leash that were supposed to protect those dogs. Those were the first dogs to get killed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, we're gonna go back. I think Emily, you had a comment about gardening.
Yeah, in the summer, my nanny used to always grow strawberries in front of her house because she has these kind of like, it's kind of like just a bunch of soil around her house, and then there's another piece of wood, so it's not on the ground all the way. And she used to always grow strawberries.
Okay, yeah. So lots of variety is possible. That's really good to know. We have a question from the grade 2 top dogs of Swan River. Hello, grade 2 top dogs. The question is, does it stay dark during the day because you live so far north? So I'm going to amend that question just a little bit. Who knows the shortest day of the year, what time sun would rise and what time sun would set? Shortest day of the year. Go ahead, Ella.
December 21st.
Okay.
And
December 21st, yes.
the sun would usually set at about 7 or 8ish, and it would set around 3 to 4.
Okay, so rise at 7 or 8 a.m. So let's say 8 a.m.-ish, and then it would set about 3 p.m.-ish. Does that sound about right, you guys?
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also how over there, like more up north, how it will stay like completely night for a few months and then
Right.
completely day for a few months. That's not how it works here.
Yeah.
We get regular days, but there will be a longer day of the year and a shorter day of the year.
Right.
And after the longer day of the year, it starts moving, and then it becomes January. The year starts over, and then you hit the longest day of the year, the shortest day of the year,
Yes.
come back.
So it's that cycle every year.
Yeah, and
Okay, so I have a question for now the longest day of the year. Who knows about what time sun rises and what time sun sets the longest day of the year? Isabel, I'll ask you this one.
Well, I'm pretty sure the longest day of the year is June 21st.
Yes?
And I'm actually not sure what time the sun starts rising, but it's got to be like 7, 8 a.m. something like that. And it doesn't. I don't know. and it like sets at like almost at like 11. That's when it like comes to become like actually dark. And that actually in the summertime, I always have to put like garbage bags on my curtains so you can actually block out the light because it's light for so long.
Yeah. And Ella, you think it's a different time? What's your estimate of longest day of the year?
It's in the summertime. I've usually seen it rise about 4, 5-ish in the morning.
Yeah.
So kind of around there.
And what time would the sun set?
10-ish.
10, 11, like you
It's
said?
like
Yeah.
anywhere from 10:30 to 11.
Yeah.
It was later too. The sunlight wasn't here.
Can I please military time?
All right. We have a question from a class about blue butt. So the question from grade A Amber Trails class, how would a bear know that it has a blue butt? And I would guess that the bear itself probably wouldn't know, but it would affect its hunting patterns and its ability to be successful in its own hunt. Joseph?
So, you know how animals have their own language? You know how the foxes and how Kirsten said that they're like the wee little sister and the wee little brother that's
Okay.
just, you know. Some people have actually seen like crows playing with dogs and playing with dogs. Well, I would think that the foxes would actually let the bear know in some sort of way.
Interesting. So you think there's going to be some kind of communication system?
Because how dogs and ravens actually will play together, and also there have been ravens seen at, I'm pretty sure Jesse said, playing with buffaloes, baby buffaloes, baby wolves, or baby bears.
Okay.
Playing tug of war.
Yeah, very cool. We have a question here. Can wolves hunt in water? Kirsten?
Well, I'm not really sure, but I'm like probably 50% sure that they probably could swim in shallow water, so they could probably catch fish. Like, I'm not, but I don't think fish or marine life is part of their diet in life. I'm pretty sure they're full on just land animals.
Okay.
But they probably could swim in shallow waters, because you know in the pool, like there's that middle part in the pool, right, where it's sort of semi-shallow and semi-deep that you can stand on your tiptoes and for like us kids, for us short kids, to like, and sort of semi-deep and semi-shallow. I feel like if you were to put a wolf in there or some other animal, they would probably be able to float for a bit, but not like an hour and try and simultaneously keep trying to hunt for a fish.
Okay, yeah. All right, Clementine.
So like I'm sure if they were desperate, like they couldn't get any other food, I'm sure they would try and hunt in the water. But I don't think that's on their to-do list.
Right. So if they were desperate.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So folks, we would really like to continue learning from you. If you have neat, interesting facts or comments about your local community, please, it's time to get those in now, because we also want our students and our kids here in Churchill to learn about your communities and where you're from. So we would like to know some interesting science, local facts, and anything that you have to share with us. Now would be the time to put that into chat, please. Yeah, go ahead.
What animals do you have, like, that we probably wouldn't have?
That's great. So what animals, Ella's asking, what animals are in your communities that we might not see here in Churchill? And, you know, I like that approach. Does anybody else have a general question based on science for our audience that we would like them to put into our chat feature. Go ahead, Sarah.
I would like to know, like, what kind of sources, like food from the land you have there? Because we have, like, we can use fireweed flowers for fireweed jelly. We have the berries. What kind of, like, food can you get from the land?
Okay, great question. You have a question for the general participation folks? Kirsten?
It's sort of like Sarah's question, but a little bit different. Is your terrain, is your landscape a bit like ours, or is it different than like what we have here? Because we have rocky stuff, and we have like tons of rivers and stuff, like puddles and stuff, and trees and forests. Is your sort of terrain like outside your town or city or your school? Like, do you know if it's different than the one we've explained here in Churchill, or is it like similar or different?
Okay, great question. Joseph, you have one.
Yes, I have a question. What are the cultures that you have in your towns or cities that you know of?
Okay, yep, sounds good. All about cultures that you have in your communities. Good. Clementine, what's a question that you have for our participants?
Like, what do you do for fun around where you live? What do you just do, just like normally?
Yeah, so how do you use the land for things like recreation or sports or the fun that you have? How do you use your local area? And Isabel, you have a question?
What's like the weather like for you guys right now? Because it's already pretty cold out here.
Yeah, it's been a pretty beautiful fall, but now today it's kind of cloudy and rainy and cold too as well. Good question. Emily, do you have a question that you are wondering from our participants?
She already said it.
Oh, already said it, good. And all right, so if you guys can send some information back our way, we'd love to talk about that and learn from all of you as well. Okay, we have a couple questions. I'm just going to repeat one here. There was a buffering issue for one of our schools and they wanted to still know how a bear would know if its own butt is blue. So we had a comment from Joseph that there could be ways that animals communicate that something's off in ways that we're unaware of. My response is that a bear probably wouldn't know, but it would certainly affect its hunting abilities and its ability to blend in and all of those reasons why it needs to be white or an off-white color. All right, we have grade 4 students, Sargent Park School in Winnipeg, just saying a big hello to all of you.
Hello.
And grade 8 Amber Trails, they're letting you know that they have geese, rabbits, squirrels, rats, eagles, pelicans, sometimes foxes, and seagulls.
Jeez, that's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah, that's a great list. Clementine, go ahead.
We have a few bald eagles here. Like, say, like, you're going on a ride down the back road. Sometimes you can see them sitting on the rocks. And they look pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely they would look cool. Joseph?
We also have a few things. We have hawks. We also do have rats and maybe not rats, but we do have mice. I have had about 5 mice come into my house, but thankfully my one cat now has 2 other buddies. We do also have swans sometimes show up here. Very majestic and beautiful creatures.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Sarah?
Over like the past 2 years, I've seen a whole bunch of eagles, and mostly it was this summer and last summer. There was so much dragonflies.
Yeah.
I don't know how they came this far, but there was a lot.
Yeah, and that's not usual here? Okay. We have a comment here, Amber Trails, grade 8. They often go outside for phys ed, and they have also created field journals that they take with them for nature walks. So that leads into a really cool question that we had talked about earlier is how do we use our local area, or what ideas do you have to use the local area in a science class or to help with science-based learning? Any comments there? Go ahead, Clementine.
Like sometimes if it's really nice out, our or our past few gym teachers have taken us outside if it's like super nice out, because like they like getting us outside because we have a lot of space to run.
Yeah.
But this year we haven't went outside at all because, yeah, it just hasn't been that nice.
Yeah. All right. What about science-based learning? You've talked about the geography around here. You've talked about animals around here. We've talked about safety when you are going outside. How can you use this local area to help with your science-based learning? Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, like we were just doing the digestive system, so it would be sort of weird, but could be sort of useful if we went out and we looked for like different types of animal poop to see like what kind of food they ate and how like they digested it and stuff.
Absolutely. So there's a whole entire scientific study on, do you know the scientific word for poo?
Scat.
Scat. You got it.
I know.
Feces as well, yes, feces as well, but scat is the word we use. And yeah, people study it, it's a part of the digestive system like you said, but yeah, also part of habitats and all sorts of things, the food chain, the food web, and so on. Joseph?
So I was in this little area, I don't know what they were called, but it was back then when I was, I don't know what I was called. I'm pretty sure I was called like a scout or something. But we went to the train station and we were digging through owl scat.
Yeah, owl pellets.
And finding bones.
Yeah, so that's not scat. It's really interesting, but it's actually a regurgitation out of their mouths.
Oh yes.
Yes, but it sure looks like it. Sure looks like it.
Yeah, and then I
Okay.
started digging through scat.
The grade 4s from Thunderbird School are curious about the safety of people in the community with polar bears, especially if they're right around the streets. And is it true that it's illegal for people to lock their cars just for general safety reasons? Clementine? Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's not illegal to lock your cars. Like, you can lock them if you want. A lot of people don't, but you can lock them. And, like, we are pretty safe around here. The bear guys come to the school, like, each year to give a presentation. And, they make sure we always stay safe. And we shouldn't, like, that's why we have there is a siren. So that's when we shouldn't be walking out around town.
Okay,
A lot of
and
people won't be around town.
you guys practice this, right? So you've got a siren if bears are in town, and you've also got the 10 p.m. siren, because that's a time, I believe it's when bear patrol's not as around unless they get called, so it's a stay inside time. Do you guys want to do it? You want to tell them what the siren, you guys want to demonstrate what the siren sounds like?
You said you practiced.
Yes.
Okay, it's all together. 1, 2, 3, go. That is awesome, yes.
Sounds like a tornado warning.
It kind of does sound like a tornado warning, yeah. But that goes off every day at 10 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Yes, and that's your signal, stay inside, we don't have as many patrols out at the moment.
It used to be a curfew for everybody, like back when there was war. It was careful if you weren't allowed being outside after
Okay.
that.
But now it's a heads up warning.
Now it's not. Once it like pretty much blew up, they didn't really reinstall, but then people started asking to bring it back. So
Yeah.
it's just really there just to let you know when it's 10 o'clock, to let you know if
Yeah.
your children are home that they're past 10 o'clock.
Sounds good. Ellis, something to contribute?
One time a tourist was in town, so then they were walking around, like taking pictures at like 10 p.m. in summertime. And then they thought that that was like a bear was coming into town. So then they ran into the bar, and then they asked my mom and dad about it, since like my dad was their tour guide, I think. And everybody in the bar just laughed.
Yeah.
And then told them, no, that's just like one student should be inside.
Yeah.
Well, no.
That's funny, yeah. But again, yeah, if you didn't know, if you weren't from here, you would think that's an emergency siren. So we do have a comment here from Tristan Moulin. I'm not sure which class that is, but there's lots of black bears, cinnamon-colored bears, cougars, lynx, wolves, coyote, elk, deer, moose, all sorts of animals right in their community.
What are they?
Okay, lynx are a wild cat. Yeah, so it's a wild forest cat. It's very similar to a bobcat.
I'm pretty sure we have bobcats or lynx here actually too.
Okay, neat.
Okay.
So folks, we're going to be wrapping things up now. We probably have lots of questions that are going to come in from people as they watch the recording or as they think of things afterwards. And what I'm going to do is, if we have some more questions coming in, I'm going to be sending them your way, and then we'll just email them so you can still keep this communication open. However, folks, I'm going to be asking you to do the same thing. Teachers, you all have my contact info. If you have information about your communities that you would like to present, please send them my way, and I'll make sure these guys get it so that this is a dual learning relationship here, all about Churchill, but also all about your communities that you're from. So I'm going to give each of you one last short turn of one other thing, anything at all that you would like to share about Churchill. Okay, Joseph, go ahead.
One thing about Churchill is that we have this very cool purplish water that it's the river water and the salt water crevice. It separates them. It's like a purple crevice.
Yeah.
Sometimes during the day, you can see a little purple line, and you can see light blue water and dark blue water on the other side.
Yeah, you can actually see where the fresh water and the salt water meet.
But then it changes, and all the seawater comes in. And then the river water just stops right there where there's a whole bunch of rocks. And
Yeah.
the port area meets the opening between it and the river.
I like that as an observation of what's in your area that's unique and interesting, because that can extend to every community that we have. What's unique and interesting in your area, and you gave a perfect example of something here. Kirsten?
Well, this could apply to every other area, but this is what I always say to myself or to my parents or to anyone. Yeah, just my parents really. Because we have such a variety of animals, and I know, like some of you said, you have a lot of variety of animals, and you've probably seen them often when you go out, right? So I used to joke around and say, because when my dad told me how expensive zoo fees were, I used to joke around saying that Churchill was its own zoo already when you go out, because you'd see different variety of animals.
That's true. People travel far and wide to see the animals that you naturally have here. You're right, Churchill is its own zoo with its animal population.
Everywhere it's its own zoo.
True.
It's
Very
expensive here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually is. It's like $1,200 just to come in. No.
Clementine.
What?
Like, there's a lot of places that you can visit while you're in Churchill, and there's a lot of things you could do. Like, you could go on a tender buggy, or you could go out to Cape Mary. You could go out to the fort. You could go on beluga whale rides, tours.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really cool.
Excellent. Thank you. Sarah.
A lot of famous people have actually come to Churchill. Like, they did a lot of movies here. Like, Michael Bublé has been here. There was the actor for Voldemort and Harry Potter who was here. He
Wow.
was on a thunder buggy once. And there was a lot of more famous people.
Yeah. Interesting point. Isabel.
What?
Anything interesting or any last words for our audience?
Well, what I think is kind of interesting is they directed a movie here called Snow Walker, and that was actually made in Churchill, and a lot of people who are in Churchill were like just like background characters in it. And I don't know if they had a couple lines.
Wow, yeah. Emily?
A really cool thing here is that there's the tundra buggies, and one year in school, when I was in grade 3, our class went on a field trip on a tundra buggy all day, and we had lunch on the tundra buggy too. We saw 2 polar bears.
Mommy.
That's a pretty amazing day. All right, and Ellie, you get last words here.
Huh?
Any-
I'm trying to see if that's a rock or a bear.
Oh, you think you might see a bear out there?
I think it's a rock though.
Me too.
It's like really far out though.
Oh, interesting, exciting times here in Churchill.
That's what
We'll
I
have
was
to,
looking at.
we'll have to figure that out. But you never know, it could be at any time. So folks, I would like to again say a huge thank you to our partners, but really to our students here today. Give yourselves an applause. You did a wonderful job. We'd like to keep these science-based conversations going. So again, please reach out and we can keep those connections up where we're learning about you and you're learning about us. That's really how our youth are coming together here in this one. Don't forget to join us at 1 o'clock. We will be having our expert panel, same topic, all about science near and far, using your local resources and then complementing that with a global outreach. And we'll just continue our conversation. So enjoy your day and we'll see you at 1 o'clock. Thanks everyone.